Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. For those who haven't been here before, my name's Anna and I'm literally falling apart. No, I thought I'd come and do a little update because the last video I uploaded was saying that I've been accepted for surgery. I think that was that back in March or April? I can't remember. But yeah, so I've had the surgery and I thought I'd just do a little update video for you all. I had my surgery on May the 5th. That was for metastatic spread of colon cancer. It spread into my peritoneum. I'd had quite a significant spread. So the operation I had, so the CRS, cytoreductive surgery, so they went in, they removed organs that were affected. Sometimes they can remove organs that aren't necessarily affected, but they kind of take everything out. In my case, they took away a few things. So I ended up with like a total hysterectomy. They took out my peritoneal, my appendix. I think they took something from around my liver. They took a little bit of, I think, my colon as well. I think it was about 11 things in total. Yeah, so quite a big op. And they scraped around like any cancer they could see, and scraped that off. And then they filled me full of hot chemotherapy, or they filled me full of chemo, heated it up and rocked me on a table. Yeah, so they called it the mother of all surgeries, and now I know why. I had the surgery and all went well. I had one night in intensive care. For some reason I thought I completely bypassed intensive care, but I did have one night there before I was moved back to the ward. Everyone was so lovely on the ward, so I was really pleased to continue my care there. They got every bit of cancer they could see. Unfortunately, when they tested my appendix, because that was originally thought that the colon cancer had just spread into my appendix, but it was actually a brand new cancer. And I think there's about a 1 in a million chance of getting appendix cancer. So I really should play the lottery, shouldn't I? Yeah, so that turned out to be a brand new cancer. They have something like called a PCI score. I think mine was 8, which showed like the level and where the cancer is, and they got that down to a 0. So in theory, after that operation, I was cancer free, so no evidence of disease, which is absolutely incredible. Recovery was, it was quite brutal. When I came round in intensive care, I had an epidural. I had something called a PCA, which just delivers morphine to you when you need it. I had an NG tube. So prior to the operation, you're not allowed to eat for a couple of days. And for quite a long time afterwards, all I could have was you know, like jelly and fluids, I suppose, until your body and your bowel starts waking up, you know, to process stuff really. I had a bit of a rough ride because my NG tube was taken out, and then one night I just had like constant vomiting and pain and was in an awful state. That actually happened a couple of times, and they had to put the NG tube back in, which wasn't the nicest experience, but the instant relief I got was brilliant. All in all, I think I came out on like day 14 post-surgery. So the usual stay is between like 2 weeks and 3 weeks. So I did well to come out after 2 weeks. But looking back, I think I was a bit crazy really. I mean, they said I was medically and surgically fit to leave, but yeah, I couldn't really do anything. And I remember coming home that night and I couldn't even really get up and move around too much. Like just walking to my toilet was like such a challenge. So I was released the day before my birthday, and I was really desperate to get home to the kids and the dogs. So I woke up to my birthday at home, and very different birthday to what I usually have. Sorry, Jeff's just come to say hello. And yeah, and on the day, because I had, so basically from here, Jeff's showing you right down here, if you can imagine, about 70 clips I had in. They took out half my clips at Basingstoke where I had the operation, and there was a small wound there. So when I returned home, I had to go down to the GP surgery to have that wound like dressed every day. So on my birthday, went down to the GP surgery, and the nurse there made the decision to take out the rest of the clips as well, which in hindsight, that probably wasn't the right decision. So the rest of the clips came out, came home. We'd had a Chinese delivered, not that I could eat very much at all. Yeah, came home, the Chinese had been delivered, and I went to sit down just after I'd been to the doctor's surgery to take my injection, my blood thinning injection. And as I pulled up my top, I thought it felt a bit wet, but my wound had completely opened. So yeah, at that point we had to rush down to my local hospital, and I was seen by the team there, and I had to have two more lots of surgery under a general anaesthetic, another week in hospital in my local hospital, and I've been left with a wound which is, I think it's 15 centimetres down, 10 across, and it's actually 12 centimetres deep. So I have this on. I can't show you a picture of the wound because I'd probably be banned from YouTube. So that's just blood and things in there. This is a vac machine. So basically I have to wear this at all times. It has these long tubes and it's attached, so my wound is dressed and that goes on the top, and basically it's like negative therapy, so it's encouraging that wound to heal, like from the wound bed upwards, because otherwise it would just heal across and you'd end up with a big cavity. It's very slow going. So yeah, so that was 7 nights in hospital, come home again with the vac. I now have district nurses come in every other day to change the dressing, and it's nice because I've worked with a lot of those nurses before and, you know, have friendships with them, so it's nice but a bit sad that they're here to look after me. I also went to see my oncologist. I had an oncology appointment, and at this point I'm a bit down in the dumps, obviously because of what's happened with the wound, and you know, it's painful. Not only am I healing from one major surgery, now I've got the wound to contend with, and you know, it's been really hard to be so incapable, if that makes sense. You know, I'm used to being quite active and doing things, and actually I've not been able to do anything. I haven't even been able to make a meal. I've not been able to lift anything heavier than the kettle for a while. Yeah, so it's been a bit of a nightmare, but I think the one thing that kept me going was the fact that I'd had this operation. In theory, my cancer was all gone, and I thought that might just be the start of a new life, you know, and not have to worry about chemo, although I was expecting a little bit of chemo, kind of like mop up, because they'd found this new appendix cancer, although the appendix was taken out. So I went to see the oncologist and expected her to say, sorry, that's just my sandals, you know, 3 months of chemo and, you know, or maybe no chemo. I wasn't expecting her to say that now I need to be on chemo for the rest of my life. And I didn't really understand at first. I think it came as such a shock, but actually what she said made perfect sense. The reason for having to have chemo for the rest of my life is the way that my cancer behaved, that it spread so quickly after, you know, my mop-up chemo originally, and the fact that a brand new cancer developed in such a short space of time, that although the cancer's gone, my oncologist is looking at what's happening on a cellular level. I have a mutation, so I think it's like the KRAS12 mutation, or a mutated KRAS, which is very aggressive. It limits treatment option, and that basically means, like, in my cells, the cancer making switch is stuck on the on position. So on a cellular level, although we might not be able to see any cancer, those cells are probably developing cancer. So yeah, so that's it. So I found that really hard and did think, do I even want to go through the chemo again? Because it's the FOLFIRI, which I was on before, and to be honest, I found it so brutal that towards the end I thought, I can't take another cycle of chemo. So I did think I might just say no to chemo, but you know, that thought's gone now. I'm obviously going to fight. It's upsetting, but I'm obviously going to fight to spend, you know, to be here. I've got lots of things to do, and I want to spend all that time, you know. I want to see Lila grow up. I want to go wedding dress shopping with her, and yeah, just be there like my mum has been there for me, you know, and my boys as well. I know they're grown up now, but you always need your mum, don't you? So I owe it to them, and I am obviously going to take the chemo and just fight through it. Weirdly as well, so you might have noticed my hair it's the lack of it. So I stopped chemo. Chemo should have made my hair fall out, the one that I was on there, like, you're going to lose your hair. And it did go really thin, so I chopped a lot of it off. I stopped chemo and my hair hasn't stopped falling out, so that's just crazy. Yeah, so fortunately we've got a load of wigs. I think when I restart the chemo, I'm going to definitely lose my hair, so, but that's okay, small price to pay. So yeah, I chopped this fringe in and I'm just trying to disguise it because it's so thin. Yeah, I've got bold patches that were hanging on in there. So yeah, going back to the chemotherapy, the optimal time to have it is 8 weeks after surgery. So that's the best time to get started. So for me, I think that would have been a week, maybe 2 weeks ago. Unfortunately, because I've got such a huge wound, or just a wound in general, the chemo can't start. So that's made me a little bit nervous and anxious, because I think, well, there could be stuff going on in my body, and what if I need chemo? I just can't have it, because I suppose my white cells will be depleted if I get an infection in there. When you're on chemo, you don't have much of an immune system, and that absolutely, chemo is a big no-no. We were hoping the wound would be healed by the end of July. That's when I'm due to see my oncologist again. I was also due to have a PET scan, but unfortunately, because of the VAC and the VAC machine, they weren't really sure when they spoke to me on the phone. So the PET scan people, about if I could even have the scan. So she was going away to speak to her consultant and call me back, but they haven't. So I probably need to send them an email, because I can always unattach that, and there's no metal in my dressing or anything. I've made sure there's no silver in the dressing. Yeah, so that's where we're up to. Yeah, so it's a bit of a shame, as I say, with a wound, because I think if I was just recovering from the surgery alone, I'd be doing quite well. And I'm not doing well. I've been completely bored out of my mind and driven mad, because I'm not one just to sit down and watch loads of telly. I enjoy watching the telly, but I'm pretty much housebound at the moment. I've been out for a couple of walks, which has really improved my mood, so I need to probably do a bit more of that. Yeah, and I've just had to be depend. I feel like a burden. I've had to depend on my family so much. I'm not even allowed to push a Hoover around. And whilst that might be nice for a couple of days to be like, oh, I don't have to do any housework, it's not when you become so dependent on other people. And like I said, I've not even managed to really cook a meal or anything. And just get out there and go on an adventure. Yeah, so I've been very bored. I've read books, I've watched TV, I've got some diamond art, which I probably should sit. It's hard to sit upright as well, though. I'm spending a lot of my time on the recliner due to where my wound is. If you can imagine where your belly button is, there's a big hole there. So sitting upright, because I've got quite a big belly as well, it just feels like everything's squishing down. Yeah, so anyway, that's my update. If you've got any series recommendations on Netflix or anywhere, I think I've got everything at this point. I've got Netflix, Disney and Prime and Sky. Yeah, any recommendations would be great, or anything you like to do, any hobbies or anything I could do to just stop me going completely mad would be great. I know, sorry, I've just got a cut of my Jeff. So I never wanted this channel to be about me and all my cancer and everything. So I just wanted to do a little update though, because I realised it's been a while. And hopefully we can get back, because I have a lot of time on my hands, to doing some vlogs, even if it's some home vlogs, because that's something else for me to do. And autumn's coming up soon, and we love the autumn vlogs. Thanks for listening, guys. If anyone's going through this, or if you've had a Hypec or got surgery coming up, feel free to send me a message. I'm all over social media, or comment down below. But thank you for watching, and hopefully next time we do a video it'll be something a bit more fun than just talking about me falling apart. Okay, say bye, Jeff. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.